The massacre in Tulsa in 1921 began on Monday, May 30th, 1921.
Dick Rowland, 19 years old and black, crossed paths in an elevator with a 17-year-old white girl named Sarah Page. History books offer us one version of events.
Something happened on the elevator. We don't know exactly what, but it's likely that Dick Rowland either bumped into, brushed up against, or stepped on the foot of Sarah Page. She overreacted. She began to scream. Dick Rowland, frightened, ran from the elevator.
Family lore offers another.
What the man saw was not a man attacking a woman, not a black man attacking a woman. What he saw was two people kissing. Sarah Page and Dick Rowland were lovers. He was accused of attacking her, and Sarah, from what we understand, tried to tell him, no, we're in love. We're getting married.
She would refuse to cooperate with prosecutors after they arrested Dick Rowland and charged him with assault. Though that might have been the end of the story, it wasn't because of the role of the Tulsa Tribune. It published a story the next day entitled "Nabbed Negro for Attacking Girl in an Elevator."
What happened next should have been shocking, but it's not.
A group of white men amassed on the lawn of the courthouse, numbering ultimately in the thousands. A number of black men, several dozen, some of them World War I veterans, marched down to the courthouse, vowing to protect Dick Rowland from what they thought might be a certain death by lynching.
Ed had an old pistol around the house. He put one in his pocket. He heard that they were trying to lynch a black boy down there at the courthouse.
A white man tried to take a black man's gun, and in the words of a number of survivors of the massacre, all hell broke loose after that.
In less than 24 hours, that mob turned 35 square blocks of unparalleled black economic prosperity into smoldering ashes.
We saw coming up the wall 4 men with torches in their hand. When my mother saw them coming, she said, "If you get up under the bed, get up under the bed." They set our house on fire and went right straight to the curtains and set the curtains on fire.
We saw over 10,000 people be made homeless. In 18 hours, we saw 1,256 homes destroyed.
Today, that land would have been valued at $25 to $30 million. The official death toll was 37, a number almost too low to believe.
Most experts believe that between 100 and 300 people were killed, most of them black. A number of folks in the Greenwood community were interned during the massacre. What that did was to leave the Greenwood community defenseless.
Thousands tried to flee Greenwood.
White guy asked my grandfather, "Where in the hell you going?" Using the N-word. My grandfather said, "Where?" Here we got, we're going out of town. And he said, "Not this day, you're not going out of town." Bam!
You saw your grandfather get shot?
I saw him get shot. Bam!
The first aerial terrorist attack in American history was not done by Al-Qaeda, was not done by the Japanese, but the first time we were attacked by air in this country was done by white men. And they flew planes that were owned by privately held corporations.
When I was awakened by my mother, I was real frightened because she told me what was happening. And she says, "We have to go out, get out." I said, she says, the white people are killing the colored people.
Farther north on the train tracks out of town, the nightmare was just beginning. Eldoris Makandashi, just 9 years old at the time, was running for her life.
And the track was just full of people, and all I could see was black rolling smoke down south and the people going north. It was just the sound of this bricks, stones, buildings blown up, just the war-torn lights.
Eldoris's granddaughter, Joy Makandashi, can only imagine the horrors of her grandmother's escape.
So the bullets are bouncing off of the train tracks and stinging their feet. She's already scared to death, but now they realize, oh, they're shooting at us. They're dropping bombs on us.
Bullets were just raining down over us. The airplanes was up, it's raining down the bullets. And I was so frightened, I pulled away from my parents and ran into this chicken coop with all the other people.
100 to 300 dead, thousands more missing. In 2001, the Oklahoma Commission to Study the Race Riot of 1921 released a report naming 3 locations where mass graves from the massacre may be buried. But at the time, the city administration decided that it wasn't worth the expense to dig up the past. In 2020, the city's current mayor, G.T. Bynum, authorized the excavations to commence.
Yeah, I think one of the things that caused previous public officials to avoid it was this fear that there'd be this giant backlash against it, that there'd be this steep political price to pay.
The Republican mayor first proposed looking for victims in 2018, a challenge for the predominantly conservative city of Tulsa, where over 60% of residents are white and just 15% are black.
Someone was not happy with me pursuing this investigation, and she came up to me when I was out at breakfast with my wife and kids and said, "You're just trying to make all the white people who lived in Tulsa in the 1920s look bad." And I said, "My family were white people in Tulsa in the 1920s. I'm not trying to make them look bad, but everybody who lives here deserves to know what happened."
The mayor appointed local historian Kevin Ross to chair a public oversight committee investigating the mass graves. So far, 12 caskets have been exhumed, and the process of identifying them has begun.
How are you actually finding some of these grave sites?
So we get the power of radar, but most of that is basically just good old-fashioned oral history. Those people who kept the story alive. We knew of 2 tombstones, those who were victims from 1921, but we had never known that they'll be in a trench, stacked like dominoes. I'm hoping that for the 12 or so bodies that's underneath this ground, we'll have some kind of justice. It's been a hole literally in the hearts of Tulsans because there are loved ones that are out there unknown to us. We're just at the beginning on truth.